You know what, guys, I think they've finally almost done it. They're so painfully close to making the perfect smartphone. This is the Samsung Galaxy S8, the newest installment in Samsung's flagship lineup, and I've gotta be honest, they've impressed me. It comes packing every single feature conceivable to the human mind, but it also comes packing a price tag that is gonna hurt. We're gonna see if it's worth that price in my full review of the Samsung Galaxy S8. So let's start with the display because it's clearly what they've been pushing the most for this next generation of smartphones. The bezels have become so small that it almost feels like you're just holding a display. It's absolutely beautiful using it for media consumption and really just anything in general. It's got far better color reproduction this year than pretty much any other phone, so you can watch movies and other media exactly how the directors created them. Since the edges just kind of melt over the edges, I love how immersive it is when you're playing a video game or just watching a movie and things like that, and it's of course running at Quad HD, but since this is a taller phone, its resolution is a little bit unusual. When you are watching videos, it's gonna have black bars, but you can punch it in so that the video takes up the whole screen. You do lose some of the video around the sides, but I honestly don't have a problem with it since it's just way better and I'm willing to make that compromise. So with this screen, they've helped set the new standard for smartphones having almost bezel-less displays, and it's a great step forward. I really love it, and Samsung just hit it on the nail with this. I'm glad they did it this way. If you have concerns about how useful that edge screen will be, take it from me, this is easily the best display in any smartphone, and I've used a lot of them, so I mean, I'm quite confident in saying that I think you're all going to love it. Even if you're skeptical right now, give it a try in a shop. It's not going to be as good as in real life when you actually have the phone, but this display is an absolute game changer. Performance on the Samsung Galaxy S8 is also top of the line here. We've got the best specs in smartphones with the Exynos 8895 in EMEA and Asia, and the Snapdragon 835 in the US. This means it's gonna pretty much blaze through absolutely everything you want to do, and with this screen resolution, it's actually much better to multitask since you get two almost perfect squares, which is gonna be really nice when you're actually multitasking and using two apps side by side. Now, when you're doing things like gaming and multitasking and whatever else you want, everything all together, it's gonna be completely fine. This phone doesn't even overheat, which is so cool to see. One note on that though, the iris scanner does get slightly hot when I keep on using it just because it's so fun, but when you're just gaming, it's gonna do completely fine. I played some Asphalt 8 on this. I'm generally not a gamer anymore, but I mean, I just really enjoyed it for some reason on this phone. Using that screen, everything came together to give me a really good experience, and I'm sure you guys are gonna love using it in your daily use, no matter what it is, you know, even if you're just typing emails all day. I really enjoyed using it. So moving on, it also feels really good. They've addressed every concern from previous Edge smartphones, and this time it's a pleasure to hold and use. It feels so good in the hand, and since it's actually more narrow and tall, it's easier to reach the other side of the phone with your hand, which for someone like me with small hands is really nice. While we are on the topic of reaching the other side, I want to touch on the fingerprint scanner, no pun intended, because this year they've gone with a somewhat unusual fingerprint scanner placement where it's next to the camera because there actually isn't enough space on the front to include a home button. More on that later though. Lots of reviewers out there have been complaining about its placement, saying that it's hard to reach and that you also smudge the camera lens when you do. And while those concerns do certainly have some merit to them, it hasn't been an issue for me at all, and I've got the smallest hands of everyone I know in my age group, so if it isn't a problem for me, I find it hard to believe that it is for other people. I actually think that it comes from YouTubers being afraid of just saying positive things about this phone, because there honestly isn't much bad to it. They've got to balance it out so as to not annoy the haters who'll say it's a paid video. I understand it, but I don't agree with it. So back to the review. In terms of security features, we're seeing a built-in iris scanner which scans your iris to let you unlock the smartphone. It works like an absolute charm, and I swear it honestly feels like I'm cheating the universe every time I do it. It's just so new to me and I love it. Unfortunately though, it's really a hit or miss. If you use glasses like I do, it will sometimes work at a modest speed, but at other times it won't work at all. That said, if you don't wear glasses, it's extremely fast and accurate. You can hold down down the home button to wake the phone and then scan your iris, and it's going to feel just like you're using the fingerprint scanner on the S7 Edge, so that's always nice. Now you do have to hold the phone at a little bit of a weird angle, but you get used to that pretty quickly, and you do have to really open your eyes so that it can scan your iris. It's still awkward for me, but I mean, it's really not an issue, it just looks weird in public. The S8 also comes with face recognition, which again does work well, but it can be activated with just a picture of your face, so definitely don't use that. Now, since the iris scanner scans your eyes, you can use it when you can't reach the fingerprint scanner for some reason. So, whether your hands are wet or maybe you're using gloves, the iris scanner lets you unlock your phone pretty much all the time in a really convenient and pretty fast way, which is quite impressive. I've found myself using it all the time. I mean, I'm even willing to just lift up my glasses quickly to use the iris scanner because it just feels so good to use, and I'm pretty sure everyone will enjoy it too. So moving on to the cameras, they're still doing absolutely great. The rear-facing camera is actually quite similar to the previous S7 Edge, but it has been upgraded slightly. It takes super sharp pictures and colors look very good. It's absolutely crazy how you can take pictures that are as good as DSLRs worth thousands of dollars from a smartphone that just fits in your pocket. It works really well with balancing exposures and it doesn't blow anything out, which is so good to see, and the extra features they include like inbuilt filters are pretty cool, although I think are quite unnecessary. The front-facing camera is also extremely good. They've upgraded it to take better pictures in low light conditions, but it would have been nice if they had a wider lens as well. That said, these are still easily the best cameras in the industry right now for smartphones, which is really nice to see. It really doesn't get better than this in terms of smartphone cameras, and they're already really good, so I mean, you're getting a very, very good set of cameras with this phone. The rear-facing camera also of course does do 4K, which is good if you're into that. Now, putting all of those positive things to the side for a moment, it's certainly not all perfection with the S8. In fact, it's really far from it. The battery life this time around has been terrible for a flagship smartphone. Coming off a full charge in the morning and with moderate usage, it's dead before I'm even off to sleep at around 10 o'clock. The previous S7 Edge handled battery life far better, and this battery situation isn't helped by the fact that what they call fast charging is extremely slow in comparison to others like the OnePlus 3T, which is less than half the price. Now, I do understand that after the Note 7 they had to be very careful, but seeing as it can't really last me a full day of even moderate usage, I've got serious concerns. A full charge will take around an hour and a half, which I mean to me just sounds ancient at this point, especially since, as I said, I'm coming from a OnePlus 3T. Speakers are also probably the worst I've ever used in a smartphone, full stop. They sound very tinny and low quality, but that was at the sacrifice of IP68 certified dust and water resistance, which is the highest rating on smartphones. It's extremely good, and considering they've done it, I'm willing to let the speaker situation slide. They've also made up for it with the included headphones with a $100 value. They actually sound really good, and they're much better than other smartphone handsets included in their boxes. I'd even recommend that you buy it separately if you're in the market for a new pair, but it wouldn't be worth the $100 asking price. Software for me was a hit and miss. It's actually quite nice this time and I do genuinely like it, but it does slow the phone down. I did a speed test with the 3T, which actually has a slower processor, but because it was running on almost stock Android, it beat the S8 out in most tests. You can watch it by clicking the eye in the top right now. I've also been having app crashes using the S8, which is definitely quite unusual, but that's most likely going to be fixed with software updates in the future. It is quite disappointing that they've done this though. I mean, they've had more time to make it, so there really aren't many excuses for this to happen, and I don't even see this in other smartphones that are less than this in terms of pricing, so they need to fix that quickly. Now that said, the software does have some nice and unique benefits like the Samsung apps. I was pleasantly surprised when the S Health app kept track of my gym routine 100% accurately without me even knowing about it. You of course also get the heart rate sensor, which for some reason is never talked about, but it's a really nice feature to have that, as far as I know, only Samsung does. They've also thrown in the headphone jack, which for some reason feels like something I have to mention now, but yeah, that is there, so I mean, it's good for you guys who want to use it. Now that said, the phone actually comes with Bluetooth 5.0 and can connect to up to 2 Bluetooth devices at the same time, so that means maybe one headset and one speaker, whatever you like. I recommend Bluetooth headphones. I'm going to leave a link to a pair that I use right now. I really like it. You should definitely check it out. I think it's way better than wired headphones. There's really no reason to get them anymore. So overall, I would give this a 9 out of 10. I wish I could give it 10, but battery life and speakers were huge letdowns. It's made up for in other areas, but when you slip on something as essential as battery life, you really can't let that go by, especially at this price tag. But guys, I said that this might be the perfect smartphone, and I honestly think this is the closest we've ever been to finding a perfect smartphone. The Samsung Galaxy S8 just does everything right, and it does it really well, apart from those 3 things I mentioned earlier. I wish that they fixed them, and if they did, oh my god, this would just be such a good smartphone. I shiver thinking about it, like it's so good. But guys, I'm gonna end this video here. I've made lots more videos on the S8, which you can definitely check out on my channel. Make sure to like this video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new around here, and I'm out. Peace.